and I do want to talk about him because it's interesting. You know, the face of a brand is a lot. It represents the brand. It represents, you know, what the cigar is about. Sometimes brands these days have, you know, names and faces that don't mean a fucking thing. It's just some weird name with a, you know, holographic label or something. Or I said that. I didn't mean Vehique because that's really the only holographic label I know right now. But, you know, some brands, they come up with these names and say they really, you know, it's hard to interpret what they're really talking about. Anyway, Simon Bolivar is, like I said, one of my favorite historical military figures. You know, I was in the middle of doing the Bolivar history thing, and I just had to stop for a minute and just said, you know what, let me just smoke this for 5 minutes and enjoy this fucking thing. Maybe it was 10 minutes. Anyway, you know, we're about to start getting into the second third. The entire first third just came off in one beautiful inch-long ash, and so far it's just been great. The whole first third was a lot of wood, you know, but like a very low base wood, like mostly like a really just meaty flavor, meaty salt with wood, some spice, hints of something that I guess I would call some kind of dried, maybe like almost like a dried apricot, but very faint, like this, just like this touch of dried fruit. And overall, just a spicy, woody, meaty flavor with a lot of salt and a very, very low twang, you know, like a bassy twang. And it's got some good power. After the ash bill now, the twang became a little sharper, a lot sharper. Just now it hit me pretty good. So that's our first third. And there are different things going on in this cigar. I'm not going to say it's overly complex yet. There aren't all sorts of different things going on, but I mean, it's a pretty straightforward flavor. You can separate some different flavors that are, you know, combining to make this a great cigar. But let's just see what's going on. The burn is beautiful. The draw is beautiful. I mean, perfect. You know, burn for Belicosos straight around. The construction, ash is nice, firm, tight. Came off in just one nice piece. The draw is absolutely great. I don't even need to double puff. I'm just kind of like doing one whoop and just get a big cloud of smoke. Oh, it is smooth as a motherfucker. I'm blowing this thing right through my nose, and through the nose, it's very floral, and a little sweet. And it's just, you know, straight through, no problem. So again, I hope you can hear me. This, you know, happens to be probably one of the best cigars we're doing so far, and you got all these things going on, but that's life. I can't help it. In the future, should the show get more popular and I come up with a better place to smoke and some equipment and microphone, who knows? But right now, we got to deal with what we got to deal with. Anyway, started in a garage basement, same fucking thing, right? Anyway, so we're going to talk a little bit about Simon Bolivar. Now, Simon Bolivar, whose real name, or AKA, Simon Jose Antonio de la Santísima Trinidad Bolivar y Palacios Ponte y Blanco. Whoa! Notice how the name Trinidad's in there too. Kind of faded, maybe. He was a Venezuelan military leader, and in my opinion, one of the greatest to walk the earth. When you start reading about some of the achievements this guy made, it's unbelievable. I have a few of the greater ones here. He was a very big admirer of the American forefathers, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and he was a firm believer in the rights of the individual over the rights of the state, and that the individual should be able to make the choice that the state is based on, not the other way around, not the state making choices for individuals, which unfortunately we see happening more and more today, even in democratic countries. But, you know, whatever, I'm not going to go there right now. Simon Bolivar, you know, so therefore I just have written in big letters, ironic. Therefore, it is extremely ironic that Bolivar is a Cuban cigar. And I mean, of course, you know, Bolivar's been in Cuba, you know, from when did I say 1921 officially, but as early as 1901, 1902. So way before the days of the revolution and all that. But, you know, a lot of times when when a country is taken over and a new dictator comes to power, all the things that represent anything other than, you know, you obey us now are, you know, squelched and squashed and taken away. You know, even right down to books are burned, any kind of media. So Bolivar, on a Cuban cigar, on the #1 thing that Cuba basically stands for in the eyes of the world everywhere else, cigars, and you have a band with Simon Bolivar on it, who is a staunch believer in the rights of the individual. It's extremely ironic. And even more ironic than that, I almost laughed when I learned, and when I got this jar, when I learned that they were coming out with a jar to commemorate years of diplomacy between Cuba and China. I was, and they used Bolivar of all fucking things. It's hilarious. Maybe they don't even know who the fuck Bolivar really is. Maybe they never bothered to like look into it. Like, who is this guy on this cigar band? Who is this? It's just another cigar. Yeah, okay. You know, it's really fucking funny when you think about it. Anyway, Bolivar is responsible for the freedom of Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Bolivia from the Spanish monarchy at the time. He was the president of 4 different countries at different times. 4. He was the president of 4 different countries at different times. You know, not like, okay, I freed all these nations, I'll run them all for now until we get leaders. No, it was like different times. I mean, it's fucking... And the only man, one of the only men in history to have a country named after him, which is Bolivia. And, you know, I was astounded to, when I was looking at maps and doing this research, I was astounded to find that there are dozens of counties throughout the United States named Bolivar. You know, including like right in upstate New York, I think. And in Central Park, NYC, there is an amazing, giant, bigger-than-life statue, bronze statue of Bolivar riding a horse. And I went there and took some pictures, and I wanted to post them on the website. This was back when I was doing the website, but unfortunately, it was dark, and all I had was a cell phone. I was completely unprepared, so that never happened. But hopefully, I get back there and am able to take, because it's really, really a beautiful, beautiful statue. Let's just give this a little bit of a... May not need to relay, let's see. Talking. So, and that's about it. He was a Freemason, you know, and I had that down. So that's it. But those are just some really interesting, I think, really interesting facts about Bolivar. And a lot of them I just, you know, wanted to mention, put all together, not only because he's a great man, but to make that point of how ironic it is that Bolivar is this big Cuban cigar brand. You know, when he's like, Bolivar would be sick right now to be on the Cuban cigar leg, you know? You know, I guess Fidel would say we're not ones who can talk. I mean, fuck, we're all ordering and smoking his cigars, so... Alright, I am going to need to give this a little relight. And then, you know, I'm going to puff away, talk about the second, third a little, and we will get into some fewer emails from the past week. So, let's get to that. We did have a bit of a... Only because I was talking so fucking much. But, that is just so delicious. That is just so delicious. You know, and when I was going through my box a while ago, I know I have a Royal Corona in there, and it's, I forget, it's the other Bolivar band. And I forget exactly when they changed the bands, maybe 2008, something like that. But anyway, it's evidentiary that it is older than a certain point. So I have one in there that's maybe 4, 5, 6 years old or something like that. Got to take a look at that. No. Starting up the second, third. Let me let it get into it a little bit, and we'll go over some descriptive properties. And in the meantime, let's do some emails.
Right.
I wish this was my fucking lifelong job. I mean, this would be my desk. You know? No pens, no pencils, no bullshit, no computer, no typewriter, no phone, just a fucking ashtray. An ashtray and a lighter and a couple of humidors and shit. Here we go. Greg. Alright, now Greg sent me a message, or it might have been someone, I don't know, I never write down which are emails, which are comments. A lot of these are comments right now. Just watched your anti-counterfeit crash course. Very cool, Joe. Can't wait to show off that micropin trick to all my Cuban cigar buddies at the local cigar shop. Kind of like the Habano Secret Service. I'm really enjoying your new videos. Glad you're back. I'm glad I'm back too. What I said, and I said this back to him already. This actually came from an email. Yes, it was an email. And ooh, twang. I'm gonna puff between. Don't mind, because I don't want it to go out again. That was bad. What I said to him was this: cool, do that, show off, it's fun, but just remember, there are all those, you don't want to cause a fucking riot and have, 20 guys going back to their vendors. Ah, you motherfucker, there's no serial numbers, they're fake, I'm sending them back, fuck you. You don't know what problems you can cause. You really can cause a shitstorm. And because you got to remember, there are all those overlapping periods that cause so much confusion, and there are a lot of them about a whole bunch of different things. With the microprint, the big thing is this: first of all, you have the seal that came out before that seal that looks almost identical. I'm talking about the one where it has rounded corners on the hologram instead of beveled corners. It's a little bit wider. There's a whole don't confuse that, because that has no fucking serial numbers on it. And even when they came out with the new band that does have the serial numbers, the one with the bevels and the newest one that's in production right now, when that first came out, for a good 6 months, maybe a little more, I think that came out in 2011 or something. Not until the end of 2012 did they start using the serial number microprint. So you do have a lot of boxes out there, depending on box date, that don't have that. Now, so that means if a guy has a box from 2012, doesn't mean that if he doesn't have the serial numbers, they're automatically fake. Okay? If he has a box from 2013, I would say he should start to worry, especially mid-2013. Then there's going to be problems. But just remember, just make sure you know all your facts solid before you start saying, oh, your cigars are fake, man. These are bullshit, So you got to be a little careful of that. But Greg, it is fun to know all that kind of stuff, and you do. I got a lot of emails came in after that episode. A lot of people were like, oh, I broke out my collection and I found them, and then a couple of guys. Right through the nose. It's great. Not the slightest bit of burn through the nose. Unbelievable. A couple of guys came back and said, oh man, Joe, I forgot. I didn't even realize that when I said this is going to be the bomb and it's going to thwart all these guys. They can't, they can cut off the barcodes, but it doesn't matter anymore because it's in the seal. You have fucking vendors out there now playing scratch off with the fucking seal. So you'll get a box and they scratch off the areas of the Cuban seal. You know what I say? I say there are so many vendors out there that if you get boxes like that, fuck you. Go fuck yourself. Go find someone else, man. Or at least talk to them first. Say, listen, I see what you're doing. Do me a favor, especially if you've ordered like 3 times, 4 times, and they get to know you and everything. You got. Please don't do that. I don't want cigars. Like, if you do that, don't send them because I'll send them back. That's the way to go about it. And if they say, well, we have to do it, move right along, because trust me, there are vendors out there, and a lot of them are vendors that I really can't. Because they don't want to be a part of this, or they'd rather their customers come through other sources, or friend referrals, and they're just worried. They're worried, and it's understandable, because it's not completely legit. So, you may have to go around yourself and start to send some emails and go hunting and get to know these guys and start, But eventually you will find vendors that don't play scratch off with the. At this point in the game, I wouldn't. I order from a vendor, I get scratched off numbers, I'd say to be like, email them, I want to place another order, is it possible? And then be firm about it, because what they'll do is say, oh yeah, no problem, and they'll send you the box after they got your money, and it'll also be scratched off. Trust me. So you got to be firm. You got to let them know, look, if you send me a box and those numbers are scratched off, I'm going to open the thing at the door and I'm going to send it right fucking back. So that's it. A lot of people will disagree with me, but I think the error of all this cutting off, scratching off, I think this is bullshit already. It's fucking bullshit already. You know, especially when there's a lot of vendors out there not scratching off. Vendors are a dime a dozen these days. They got to compete with each other, which is a good thing for us. Here's an interesting one. Well, not even really interesting, but just I found like, okay, well, why do you care? Bengalis 87. What brand of matches are you using in your videos to light up your cigars? I don't know, maybe he likes the way they flare up. These are Davidoff matches. I don't show the box off because it causes problems with, you know, YouTube monetization. You know, I can review a Davidoff cigar, but if a box of their matches is sitting there, it's like, you know, prove that this company is allowing you to, come on, man, enough of that shit. So I don't show them. I also like to use, I do like them, except the wood is a little dense, and you'll see a lot of times I gotta hold the match up for the flame to keep rising. That's because the wood is a little dense. And while dense wood will keep a flame burning longer, it's hard to get it to catch, so sometimes the match will go out in the middle. I really prefer Swan Vesta matches. And Swan Vesta is a very old brand of Strike Anywhere matches. They kind of made a re-release a few years ago and started producing the Swan Vesta matches again. However, they're not Strike Anywhere, which is a shame. But, you know, when I want to act like Clint Eastwood or something, I'm like, you know. But that's it. So I like Swan Vesta matches, Davidoff matches, any long matches will do. As long as when you swipe them, you don't have to push. You should be able to take a match and just drag along, and it should pop and light. If you have matches that you like, then either the scratch paper sucks or the matches suck. Don't bother with that. You know, it ruins the experience. All right.